The interesting thing about this second situation is that the objects neighboring the mass in relative accelerated motion are able to drag the mass with them, take it in the direction of its accelerated motion, which does not occur in the case of uniform rectilinear motion. The explanation of the functioning of gravity occurs by the uniformly varied movement that exists in the space around the masses, a type of rotation. Every rotation is a varied movement. Varying in a rotating way, the tension of empty space behaves like a gravitational force field, taking with it the masses surrounded by it. Since time is also nothing more than a measure of a well-defined movement, when we speak of time, we speak of a quantity of movement in relation to another quantity of movement. We speak of an observed variation in the tension of empty space or traversed space in relation to another variation in the tension of empty space or other traversed space. As the two variations in the tension of the empty space are measured in the same unit of measure, we are left as a result only a quantity without a unit of measurement, a number, without any unit of physical quantity, relative to the quantity that we wish to measure by comparison. To reach a more general understanding of physics and the universe, it is necessary that this happens. There cannot be any unit of measurement of physical magnitude left over, as we would not be able to explain its existence as an absolute reality, which does not exist. Only relative quantities are allowed for physics by the universe. Eliminating all the measurement units of physics by comparison by unifying them seems to leave the empty space that we measure in meters. But even the meter is obtained through a comparison with a standard measurement. Without having the meter, we arrive in the most complete empty space. We arrived at nothing. According to Albert Einstein's theory of relativity, there is no absolute reference point in the universe to measure time, which is the same as saying that there is no absolute time that can be used to measure time in a standard way that can be used for the entire universe at the same time. It means doesn't exist the time of the universe. All measured times are relative to their observers. The same time interval measured by different observers who are in reference points in different states of motion is different for the two when compared, and it is not a measurement error, but it is a characteristic of time to depend on the state of motion in which it is measured, depending on the observer, on his relation to the observer's state of motion, which is also made of pure motion, which has the same nature as time has. Time is a physical concept that only works locally. Time is a physical concept that has only local validity for local observers and does not exist for the universe in the form of absolute time. There are only local and relative times. The universe is totally immune to the effects of time. Due to the complete physical equivalence that always exists between motion and rest, it is as if the universe as a whole were outside of time. Time is what is always inside the universe, somewhere, in some well-defined region of the universe. Although we always see great upheaval locally for the universe, nothing changes. The universe is always the same. He is immutable in his physical laws and principles. The operating rules of physics, Newton's laws of motion, and all the others form a framework of functioning that is always exactly proportional to all the concepts of physics, thus demonstrating that the universe is infinite in space and eternal in time, immune to all. The operating rules of physics within the universe are always the same, they always work in the same way, for eternity. Thus, the universe is indestructible, immutable in its most general form. For all this, time will never be able to bring the universe to decay, to an end. The universe is unreachable by the harmful effects of time. The universe is outside the law of entropy, or in other words, the law of entropy is always within the universe. It is always local, it only has local validity, never universal. Entropy, the law that says that in every physical system disorder always tends to increase, is also a concept always only relative, never absolute. The modern man, always busy with his tasks, lives fighting the clock. He fights for the fulfillment of his wishes and still can't deal very well with the inexorable fact of death. Many elderly people feel defeated for not having enjoyed life more and are afraid of dying because they believe that they will simply disappear, turn to dust. We are also not very good at understanding the lives and feelings of our fellow human beings.